The Children Who Haunted a Ghost. Roderick Hunt. Mr. Brown sold houses. He had been busy all day. He sold a shop, 2 houses and a hotel. I could do with the rest after all that selling, he said to himself. He shut the door of his office and sat back in his chair. He gave a big yawn and was about to shut his eyes when... "Ah!" screamed Mr. Brown. He sat up in his chair. His heart thumped. His face went pale. His hair stood on end and his eyes bulged with fright. Standing in front of his desk was a ghost. Mr. Brown had never seen a ghost before, but he recognised this one right away. For a start, it didn't have a head. Well, it did have one, but it was tucked under the ghost's arm like a football. What's more, Mr. Brown could see right through it. The ghost was sort of pale, greenish white, like the colour of a dirty milk bottle. It was dressed in old-fashioned clothes, and there was a faint green glow all around it. Mr. Brown could feel a coldness coming from the ghost, rather like a chill you get when you open the door of a fridge. The ghost didn't do anything. It just stood in front of Mr. Brown with a sad look on its face. Mr. Brown opened his mouth and shut it again. He had once read a book about ghosts. It said that the best thing to do when you meet a ghost is to speak to it in a firm voice. The trouble was, Mr. Brown's teeth were chattering so much that he could hardly speak at all. When he did manage to say something, it came out like peas on toast. "I beg your pardon," said the ghost politely. "I said peace, oh ghost," said Mr. Brown. "I'm glad you used the word peace," said the ghost. "That's why I've come to see you. I want a little peace and quiet. You're the only person I can turn to." "You mean you haven't come to haunt me?" asked Mr. Brown. "Good heavens, no," said the ghost. "Not at all. I've come to you for your help. I'm here as a customer." "Oh, I see," said Mr. Brown. He began to feel very much better. "Perhaps you had better sit down and tell me all about it." "You see, it's like this," began the ghost, but Mr. Brown stopped it. "Would you mind putting your head back on?" he asked. "Don't worry if you can't, but seeing you with it on your lap makes me feel a little faint." "Oh, I'm sorry," said the ghost. The head floated upwards and landed gently on its shoulders. "Thank you," said Mr. Brown. He wiped his face with a big white handkerchief. "Now, do go on." "Well, until now," said the ghost, "I've been happy and hard working. I've haunted Polton Court for 400 years, and I've never had any trouble. In fact, I've done a good job. I've scared quite a few people in my time, but now I'm a nervous wreck." "I'm not one of those ghosts that overdo things," the ghost went on, "and I've haunted some very nice people. There was old Mrs. Redford Smith, for example. All I had to do was go, 'Woo!' and she'd jump out of her skin. And there was a very nice couple in 1840 who lived in the house for only a week. I appeared once, and that was enough for them." As it spoke, the ghost's voice grew thin and faint. It sounded as if it were coming from far away on a bad telephone line. Mr. Brown saw that the ghost was really upset. In fact, he was trying not to cry. Mr. Brown wondered if he should go and pat it on the shoulder, but he decided not to. Instead, he tried to sound cheerful. "So, why have you come to me?" The ghost sighed deeply. Mr. Brown felt quite sorry for it. "Don't you see?" groaned the ghost. "It's all your fault. It's all because of you." "But what is?" asked Mr. Brown nervously. "It was you who sold Polton Court to that terrible family," said the ghost. "It's those dreadful children. They're driving me mad." Mr. Brown left his desk and looked for a folder. "Let me see," he said. "Here it is, Polton Court, a fine old house. 6 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. The ghost gave another sigh. "I've known it quite well since 1614, he said. "Ah, yes," said Mr. Brown. "I sold it to a family called Baggs." The ghost gave a groan. "I remember now," went on Mr. Brown. "There were Mr. and Mrs. Baggs and 2 children, Christopher and Lucy." The ghost groaned even louder. "Lucy Baggs and Christopher Baggs. What children! What a family!" "Tell me about them," said Mr. Brown. "It all began," said the ghost, "soon after the Baggs family moved in. I wanted to give them a really good scare. People with children usually are the easiest to..." "Frighten. I did my best tricks. I went through a wall. I wailed and groaned and clanked a few chains. I thought they'd be terrified." "And weren't they?" asked Mr. Brown. "No," said the ghost. "They thought I was a big joke. Do you know what Lucy did? She threw a ball at me, and it went right through me. She laughed. It was dreadful." "Think how I felt," said the ghost, "with children trying to play catch through me. I was really upset. Ghosts are supposed to frighten people, not have balls thrown through them. The next time I appeared it was even worse. The children were expecting me. They had an electric hairdryer and a plastic bag. They called it a ghost hunter's kit." "What did they do?" asked Mr. Brown. "They tried to blow me into the plastic bag with the hairdryer," said the ghost with a sob. "They wanted to take me to school to show the children in their class." "But you got away?" said Mr. Brown. "Yes," said the ghost. "But I was a funny shape for ages afterwards." "I wasn't so lucky next time," went on the ghost. "Chris and Lucy thought of a new ghost hunter's kit." "What was that?" asked Mr. Brown. "A vacuum cleaner," said the ghost with a shudder. "They switched it on as soon as I appeared and sucked me in through the nozzle. They almost caught me this time. Luckily, I was blown out of the other end." "Was it painful?" asked Mr. Brown. "Not really," said the ghost, "but I came out as a long, thin tube, and it was a terrible job getting back to normal again." By now Mr. Brown was feeling quite sorry for the ghost. "What can I do to help you?" he asked. "I can't stand those children any more," said the ghost. "I need a new place to haunt. Do you think you could find me another house?" "I need somewhere old and big with lots of corridors and creaking stairs." "I'll try," said Mr. Brown. "Do you want central heating?" "Just somewhere quiet," said the ghost, "but with no dogs and no children. You see, ghosts don't usually move. Once I have a new home, it'll be difficult to move again." Mr. Brown looked through his files. "Let me see," he said. "There's a nice big house in Spring Road. 5 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, large garden, built in 1925. No good, said the ghost. It's too new. I must have something that's at least 200 years old. After all, I deserve it. This one might do, said Mr. Brown. In fact, it looks perfect. It's a large old house in Blackwood Road, number 13. He showed the ghost a picture of the house and explained how to get there. It sounds just right, said the ghost. Thank you, I'll take it. Then it disappeared. After the ghost had gone, Mr. Brown looked at the file about the big old house in Blackwood Road. "Oh no," he said, "I've made a mistake. I should have told the ghost to go to number 31. He found a map and looked at it carefully. "Oh my goodness," he gasped. "Oh my word, I've made a terrible mistake." Mr. Brown put his hands over his eyes and groaned. "Number 13 was knocked down a year ago," he gulped. "It isn't there anymore. That poor ghost. Where number 13 used to be, they built a primary school."